is section 1 of the Academic Decathlon, Economics Explanation. I will try to make this very fast for everyone because everyone's time is limited. So, what are we going to discuss? This analysis, the entirety of the analysis videos will cover section 1, section 2, and section 3, which is going to be a page-by-page explanation of the Economics Resource Guide. In this video, we're going to explain section 1 and all you need to memorize. The first thing that you need to memorize is that Adam Smith created the book called An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, published in 1776. They test on that a lot. Remember, this is a book. This is a book on capitalism, about how people are selfish. And the economy needs to accommodate that selfishness. The next one is this quote. If they ask you who wrote it, then Adam Smith wrote it. Adam Smith said that it's not from the benevolence of the butcher or the brewer we expect our food, but from their self-love. We talk about their advantages, not of ours. And the next thing that we need to memorize is the 31,530 different items in a average supermarket. They might change this number in your year, so make sure that you look over your economics guide to see what number they actually have this year. Next is the basic assumption of economics. Now, there are 5 basic assumptions: scarcity, trade-offs, opportunity costs, rationality, and gains from trade. The first one is scarcity. This is the idea that humans have unlimited wants. If someone can have an infinite amount of money, they will, if they want it. But the problem is they won't, because there's not infinite amount of money. Just the same as there's not an infinite amount of resources. But is it nice to get infinite amount of dollars? Surely. But there's not. There's limited amount of work, energy, knowledge, and capital for that. Therefore, it's the idea that there's an infinite amount of human wants, but not enough resources. Next is trade-offs. Trade-off is that the scarcity forces you to choose one over the other. Since you can't have everything, at least have what you like the most, right? If the amount of money that you currently hold cannot buy both A and B, well, at least you can choose A or B. So that's something that you choose. And that's something, as it stated, resulted from scarcity. Opportunity cost. Notice that I pulled out a pen over here because this needs some explanation. So what is an opportunity cost? For example, let's say if you work at mowing the lawn, it gives you $10. Mowing the lawn gets you $10. And let's say you wash the dishes. You washing dishes gets you $9. So what is your opportunity cost? Your opportunity cost is $9. Of course, if you choose to mow the lawn, which is $10, your opportunity cost is going to be $9. Why? Why is it not another random job, for example, taking care of kids that will earn you, for example, $8? That's because $9 is the next best option compared to $10. Now notice that I did not subtract 10 minus 9 because the opportunity cost is not 10 minus 9. The opportunity cost is literally what you have given up for that $10. Therefore, the opportunity cost in this scenario is $9. So remember, if you have a question that says, what's the opportunity cost? Do not subtract anything. This $9, the next best option, is the opportunity cost. Not the next best option, not this one, not the best option, but what has choosing the best option cost you. That's the definition of opportunity cost. Concept is rationality. This is assuming that humans are rational. Pretty simple, right? That humans naturally wants to choose things that cost less but gets them the most back, right? If I have a $10 milk jug that contains the same amount of milk as a $9 milk jug, why would I buy that $10 milk jug? Why don't I just opt for that $9 milk jug? It's the assumption that humans are rational. Now, you may be thinking that humans can be irrational. Yes, but remember, this is simplified economics. So we assume rationality. The next one is the gains from trade. What is the gains from trade? Gains from trade is the idea that humans, or should I say nations, would want to trade only if it benefits them, right? If, let's say, US is trading with UK. US trades with UK. Obviously, the US is not going to trade with UK if it's bad for the US. But the US is going to trade with UK if it's good for the US. Therefore, you can assume that if the US trade with UK and it is a free choice, it's going to benefit the US. And if UK make that choice to trade with US, it's also going to benefit the UK. Therefore, that's gains from trade. The next one is the economic models. Now, what is an economic model in economic theory? Those are basic diagrams, as we're going to see later in the section. These kind of diagrams that are going to be used as a simplified version of the economy. They're mainly helping us to understand what the economy is trying to say. For example, aggregate demand, aggregate supply curve. If we see one curve shift to the right, what does it mean? If we see aggregate supply shift to the left, what does that mean? It's not a very perfectly accurate representation of the economy, but it's good enough. The next one is positive and normative economics. Positive is basically saying that, for example, if you increase taxes, the profit margin of this company is going to fall by 8%. Now, that's a claim, obviously, but that's verifiable. That's a verifiable claim. If I simply just said, if you increase taxes, the companies will do worse. Now, that's a normative judgment because you can't verify that. I can verify the first claim because I can totally just pull up the percentage of which the company actually lose in their profit margins after the tax. But I cannot, in this case, assess if the company actually does good or bad in normative economics without using my own humble opinion. And finally, or second to last concept is efficiency. Efficiency as a goal. Now, what is efficiency? The most important concept in efficiency is Pareto efficiency. What does it mean to be Paretally efficient? What this means is that, for example, if you're dividing up a pizza among, let's say, 3 people. 3 people. Now, let's say I give this entire pizza to one dude. One guy. Is this Pareto efficient? It is Pareto efficient. Is it fair? Being fair is a normative judgment. Therefore, Pareto efficient does not include fair. Because this pizza is given to one person and no slices are left. It is very Paretally efficient. Now, what would be not Pareto efficient is if I give this pizza equally to 3 people, and still have one slice remain. Is this Pareto efficient? It isn't Pareto efficient because this one slice of pizza caused it to be not efficient. There are still resources left. You can make this Pareto efficient though by giving this slice of pizza to any of those 3 people. That makes it Pareto efficient because all the resources will be used up. That is Pareto efficiency. And we have to memorize that Pareto efficiency is from an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. It is important, and his name rhymes. Finally, micro and macroeconomics. Now, those are going to be Section 2 in our Section 3, as we can see over here, microeconomics. Section 2 and Section 3. What microeconomics is trying to talk about is trying to focus on a smaller concept of economies, individuals, as we can see here, individual behaviors, and particular markets. What we're going to see in macroeconomy is going to be the overall performance. We're going to see in macroeconomy things like unemployment rate, the nation's unemployment rate, the nation's GDP. While in microeconomics, we might be looking at the demand for gasoline, singular market, the demand for popsicles, a singular market. That's the difference between micro and macroeconomics, and we're going to delve in those differences in our later section videos. And that's it for Section 1. Thank you for watching.